times more playing than you're used to. More hours with the horn on your face than you're used to doing at home during summer especially. So it's important that you prepare yourself every day to play your best. And be very careful how you treat the muscles of your embouchure and your body, because there's sometimes are strained a little beyond what you're used to. So this period of warm-up or preparing to play each day is very important and becomes more important on these occasions. Today we're going to go through a system of warm-ups that was developed by Remington. Remington, who knows who Emery Remington was? Passed away. A few of you know? Who was he? Trombone professor at the Eastman School of Music. He was well known for developing trombone players who at one time almost the principal chairs in the major orchestras in the United States were his students. And this series of exercises were based on one principle, and that is making a beautiful sound, making a beautiful tone fall. So, unlike a baseball player who has to do a warm-up, pitchers, the pitchers are always in the warm-up room, warming up the arms. They're warming up big muscles, bringing more blood to those tissues to make them more flexible. In playing euphonium, we really aren't worried about bringing more blood to our lips. There's plenty of blood in your lips, as witnessed by those of you who live in the north and get chapped lips and they crack and bleed very easily. But what we're trying to do in the warm-up period is two basic principles. First, recall what it feels like to play, and number two, recall what it sounds like. So you want to start with the idea of I want to make my first sound of today my best sound of yesterday. And so you always think of what you want to do with that particular principle. The other thing you want to make sure that you do is remember that you're playing a wind instrument. In playing a wind instrument, the most important thing that will help you play better and will help you become a better performer is to make sure you always have good posture, that you have room for your lungs to breathe. And when you're sitting, the biggest challenge we have with sitting and playing euphonium is posture. Because many times you may notice when you're standing, you have a pretty good posture. Your shoulders are up, your body is erect. But when you sit down, what happens? Well, you let the horn sag down and you sag down to it. So you crunch up your lungs and lose about a third of your lung power. So when you're sitting, I advise people to sit as they stand. First of all, one way to tell if you're really sitting with your upper body erect is to see if you can stand up without leaning forward. If you are sitting down and you have to lean forward to stand up, you don't have a center of gravity. That's why I like to sit on the front half of the chair when I'm playing. Because I can stand up and sit down without leaning forward. And I have my upper body in the same position as if I were standing. The second problem is many times when you're especially sitting for a long period of time in a long rehearsal, like last night the band rehearsed for 4 hours or so, you get tired holding the horn up like this. So you can put either a folded towel or a cushion, or something. I use a little cushion that I made out of a pair of old pants stuffed with nylon stockings, and it fits right there, and it helps hold the horn in that position. You may notice last night Euphonium had a stand attached to his horn, because he has a very long trunk. He had a stand attached to his horn that raises it up about 8 inches off his leg. So he can play like that without any strain. So posture is the first thing you want to do, is make sure you play with good posture. I often will warm up standing up. I like to practice standing up because most performances are done standing up. Some people have problems with that, but it can be a really good training. If you never practice standing up and then have to perform standing up, you'll find that there are some challenges. Okay, to get started playing, if you look at this, at the music sheet you have, it's an abbreviated form of the basic Remington exercises, and this master class on the Remington studies tells you how to play each line. So, the first thing we're going to look with is the sustained tones exercise at the top of the page. The purpose of playing this is to really create the very best sound you possibly can. And then it's a spider web. It keeps going back to the same reference tone. The idea is make your sounds the same. And use the axiom of one note, many pitches. It's the same note, you're just playing a different pitch. The same quality, the same beauty, the same volume, everything that you're doing. So when you start to play, it's good to take a couple good breaths. If you have a breathing tube or something else, sometimes that's good to clear out especially the morning malaise. Brush your teeth is a good idea in the morning. Sometimes during the night you get a little buildup of stuff in your mouth from breathing. Brush your teeth. Don't forget to brush your tongue. That really helps. So let's take a couple good breaths. In with the good air, out with the bad air. Let me just sort of demonstrate. When you first start to play, think of your very first note as being the best note of yesterday. Non-compensating euphoniums do we have here? We have a few. Okay, we have a few of you. We're going to go down into the fourth valve register. So when we get down to a certain length, you won't be able to play the B natural or whatever else, but everyone else will go on down using the B flat as a reference tone. all the way down the full octave, okay? Here we go. Good sound. You're doing great. 1, 2, ready? Okay, the next thing we're going to do is just loosen up the tongue a little bit. We want to play this first exercise. Think of these long tones not as forte. Maybe mezzo forte, mezzo piano. Mostly listening for the quality and the steadiness of the air and the beauty of the steadiness of that sound and the round, rich quality. This is just it's harder to tongue at a loud dynamic than a soft dynamic, so it's good to practice your articulation studies forte or fortissimo tones. So, we're going chromatically down to B flat, middle B flat, top line, top space, all the way down to the pedal note at this tempo. About that dynamic. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. like this when you're playing the mouthpiece solo. Okay, let's try that. 1, 2, ready. Be careful you don't overblow when you're playing the mouthpiece alone. The tendency is to play the mouthpiece with too much air. Overblow it a little bit. Just use a very steady and solid stream of air. Let's do it one more time. Ready? 3 notes slur. Ready? Good. Now put it back in the horn. Same one. Over. 3 notes slur. 1, 2, ready? Remember, the instructions that are here are quite extensive, so that might help you. This is the B flat and F alt alternating. The important thing here is to make sure that the lower note has the same volume as the upper note. So it's not down, 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 down. So they're the same quality. There's a tendency to let the lower note have less sound because you're using the same amount of air for both. And there's another axiom you can remember. If you want to have equal result, you have to have unequal effort. You can't play exactly the same and have the same result on the bell. You want to look for equal results by unequal effort. At times, certain notes take more air, more effort if you're going to make them be exactly the same. So you don't want to sound. This one we want to play as fast as is comfortable and clean. So we'll start with this tempo. And as you work it up, you can play it faster. Always working for that equality of sound. Let's try it. Breath. Take a breath between each finger. 1, 2, ready. So let's play that. We will also descend into the lower fourth vowel. Find out a little water. Remember to sit up straight, have good posture, good air. You're only as good as your air in making the sound. Okay. Let's go on F B flat, about this tempo. Okay, now the 5 notes slur, starting with 2 and 4, about this tempo. You go 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. Ready? 2 and 4. So by closing the aperture slightly and keeping the same air supply, the air goes faster and the note comes out more easily as you go upward. So you think of that note having a lot of sameness to the quality. Make sure you don't play the first note too softly, then you don't have the airflow fast enough for the upper notes. If we're trying to get faster, moving air by blowing harder, we're pulling our lips apart and it's harder to change the aperture. But if you put more air into the bottom note of each, to exaggerate, you get the top note just pops out. Instead of just the opposite. You don't want to play exaggerating again. Once again, working for that one note, many pitches idea. Let's try it, okay? About this time. Da-dee-da-dee-da-dee. We should be all at that tempo, at least. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Next ones are the two-note alternatings in both partials, first B flat to D and then D to F. These 3 exercises that are in our line should be all the same tempo. The first one, just 8 notes, or 16 notes, da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da, second da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da. So whatever tempo you play the first one, you want to be able to play all 3. So if you don't have good speed in, you play the first one a little more slowly. If you have lots of good speed, you can go as fast as you can handle it. Okay, let's just try the first one about this tempo. D flat and D, 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 D. Remember, we're looking again for that equality of volume We'll play 2 or 3 in one breath. Just grab your breath. We're going to go right down the series to 2 and 4. Open. 1, 2, ready. I think we have to stop now.